120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's One to Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. Broadcasting live from the greatest city on earth, Hartford, Connecticut, New England's rising star, Cacique in the house. How you doing there, sir?
Good morning, Stan, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers, man. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week.
All right, your weekend was good?
Excellent, Stan. The weekend was excellent, man.
I mean, it is the middle of the week, but I haven't seen you since last week. So
yeah, and I changed the hours at the chess club, and so I'm closed on Sundays. But Friday and Saturday were very busy days, man, for chess. Played a lot of great chess.
All right. So walk me through the day of the Cacique.
Well, today, for example, I do the show from 8 to 10, and then I'll go to the gym for about 40 minutes. Today, I'm probably going to walk for 20 minutes. That'll be my, and then I'll head over to the shop. I got to do some errands. I got to check something with the gas bill. I have to go a little shopping because I like to have, make sure that I have snacks and waters and soft drinks that we sell. And and then I go to the club, man, and wait for people to start coming in. Now our new hours are gonna be 3 to 8 because I realized that from 12 to 3 nobody was coming in, but if from 3 to 4, there's a couple middle schoolers and a couple high schoolers that've been coming in a couple days a week, and I have some regulars that come in just about every day, and I've had as many as 15 people playing. Well, Friday we had 11 people playing chess. And that was the most number of people that I had playing chess. I've had more people in the club than that, but it was a great day for chess. I had a very high level of chess being played, and we're continuing to try to organize. So my day usually in the morning looks like staying. I bring my wife and my son to work and to school, then I go to the gym, then I run errands, and I go to the club.
All right. So now the chess club, as you're talking, I see like the YMCA or Planet Fitness. However, your club is like a club for the mind.
Yes, it's chess.
It's a chess club.
It's a chess club, and we listen to music, and we also have some lively conversations. And it could be about sports, it could be about politics or an individual, and the thing that has impressed me the most is that we're having all kinds of people come in. Like I have a lot of middle-aged white men that come in. They want to play. I retired. I want to play. But I'm also having a good number of brothers from North Africa or the Middle East, like they like to call it, that come in. Muslim brothers that are really good players. And so I'm having a variety. I've had women come and inquire, and a couple of them have stopped and played the game. So it's really good. It's just a good place for you to play chess.
All right. So chess, chess is a like you see go to a place and everybody's lifting weights or someone's playing basketball, and you hear this, the skirting of the skit of the the feet moving on the court. It's just that they're all sitting around. Could you see yourself expanding like a Planet Fitness? Only is like this chess franchise, a club moving across the country.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I have an 81-year-old Greek man who comes to play, and he's a Meriden, and every time he comes, he says to me, "Cacique, I want you to do this in Meriden." So there's an interest in chess. It's an Olympic sport. It's considered a sport. It's a good way for you to, kind of defrag your mind, if you will. Get rid of all the junk and kind of, decompress. It's a good way to engage with other people. And I think that when people really get into it, sometimes you go through periods of time, Stan, that it's all you want to do. You dream about it, you talk about it. When you're walking around, you're thinking about it, because it can consume you like that, because it's working with your mind. So you're strengthening your mind when you do that. And it makes you feel like there's some things inside of you that you didn't even know were there. So that's what makes it so interesting, man.
Wow. So like the golfer or the fisherman.
Yes.
You're thinking about chess, you're sitting there, pawn to the king, to the right, left of the rook.
Exactly. Yeah, I have a couple friends who are fishermen, and they're really obsessed with that too, so I really can relate to that. So the Taino Chess Club, 1020 Farmington Avenue in Berlin, a great place for people to come and just play some chess and chill. We play great music, and we also offer lessons, because I have people that are as strong as master level players that come by. So you can get lessons from myself, and I'm kind of a beginner, so I can teach people some of the beginner stuff. But if you want to learn more advanced tactics and strategies, we certainly have people to address that.
All right, so number that is there a phone number they can reach you at?
860-402-3095.
All right, Cacique.
Thank you so much, family.
The Taino
Chess Club. 1020 Farmington Avenue, Berlin.
All right.
And thank you, everybody. But I want to shout out a couple people real quick, Stan. I want to shout out Andrew Tucker, Roberto Perez, Ed Perry, and a brother named Steve Whitaker. Thank you guys for coming down here and supporting the club like that, man. It's wonderful to have you, and I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, today we're gonna do something a little bit different, just a little bit different. We're gonna focus on something. Dr. Bowen is on the road. She's checking in, but she can't talk because she's driving. So Dr. Bowen is watching. Good morning to.
Good morning, Dr. Maya.
Ricardo. I can't roll my R's.
No.
When I took Spanish, I never did well with the R's. And I can count to 20. That's all I remember from 4 years of Spanish.
Is that right, Stan? Wow.
Well, when
That's
you go
impressive.
to school, if you don't have anyone to talk to, although there's no excuse for me not being a master of Spanish at this point, But if my friends would talk to me in Spanish, that's one way to force you to speak Spanish, because you have to talk back.
Well, I have an appreciation, Stan, for anyone who learns to speak, the language that I communicate in, which is in Spanish, because my thinking behind that, brother, is that, I had to learn Spanish to survive, and you're learning Spanish, to communicate with me in my language, and to me that's an awesome sign of respect. So I'm happy that even if you only know 20 words like you claim, I think that's wonderful, man.
Well, I can count to 20. Actually, I could probably count higher than 20. And
so I worked in the school system for a long time, and in the service I traveled quite a bit, and so I had an affinity for language, and I learned to greet people in I think about 15 languages at one time. That I can greet people, I can say good morning and hello, and people really like that. They're surprised.
All right. Well, I'm going to cue this up. Then when we come back, we're going to talk to a good friend of ours, friend of the program. He's actually here in studio, Christopher Dukes, and he's going to talk to us about a new and exciting project that he has going on. And we'll talk a little bit, a tiny bit about Senate Bill 1139.
Okay.
And the new language in this bill is pretty solid, because it's going to make people whole whose houses had suffered from the sewage backup and flooding in the north end.
Yes.
And up on down by Granby Street.
Yes.
And all over the city. There are several places around the city.
Those areas were hit more prominently, though. Yes.
Yes. And particularly in the north end, where it seems that people would like to just pretend it just doesn't happen.
Right.
So. But there are some legislators that are paying attention to this. It seems sad that, from what I hear, that Hartford legislators and representatives seem to be disengaged. They're not concerned. Even on the city council level, which I find stunning and shameful. Stunning and shameful.
What I find stunning and shameful, Stan, is that
I find it stunning and shameful.
For real, man. Because this nonsense has been going on all along. So what do you tell me exactly what you find stunning and shameful about these people behaving in a normal manner? Which is stunning and shameful.
That may be the stunning and shameful is that I find it stunning and shameful, because you can't expect a thing to do a thing other than that which a thing is supposed to do. Stick and Stay will be right back. It's Morning Talk.
Hartford is for more programs for the youth, as far as more extracurriculars, because I know there's a big influence in the social media and like music. So I feel like if that was more incorporated in like programs like after school or any type of extracurricular, I feel like that would help. grow for the youth, and then in the future it can expand and become more of a business thing and more of an entrepreneur thing.
All right, Harvard, I am Bridget Prince, and I am your mayor for a minute. These are the plans for the city of Hartford coming into 2023 election. We're going to have a mayor up here that actually is doing some work for the people. We are going to fix the sewage overflows in the north end of Hartford, and we're going to compensate the people for all their losses. We're going to do more in downtown than just build luxury apartments for the ones who can't afford it. So we're going to do something for the unaffordable, which is your everyday people. We're going to do some things for the youth. We'll build up downtown, build up XL Center. We want UConn Hall of Fame. Since the XL Center claims to be the basketball capital of the world, we're going to honor that. We're going to build on our international brands. So that's UConn. We're going to do some things in the river. Let's partner with the tribes, Mohegan Sun, and also the Mashantucket Pequots. Let's build something on the river. Let's get some tourism going over there. Let's get some jobs. We're going to deal with e-gaming. And whatever skill set that we need to bring these people into the future. We're going to build a community that is free from crime. Find out where all these guns are coming from. As we know, it's coming from outside. Hold people accountable, and join our youth back together and give them something, a positive future to look forward to in Hartford. I'm Bridget Prince, and I am your mayor for 1 minute.
All right now, Bridget Prince, mayor for a minute. You heard it right.
Ooh, you look good.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Randy Ricketts. I'm currently the owner of the Missing Piece. It's a mentoring program helping and assisting families in the Hartford and the North Central community with resources and tools to be a better human for themselves so they could be an investment to their community. So if I was a mayor, I would be able to provide a lot of resources, a lot of jobs, a lot of activities so people could build credentials and be able to build that skill set so they could be an investment to themselves. So they could have a good time. Not only a good time, they could bring someone else. They need to have their peer, their siblings, or someone in their family, maybe a guardian, because I want to be able to target just not only the youth, I want to be able to target the guardian in that second generation. Thank you very much.
All right, Randy. All right, Randy.
Hi, my name is Kamora Shelton. If I was mayor, I would make a program for youth like my age, for people my age that are struggling, trying to find, like for youth that need help, whatever they're going through, like mental health, depression, all of that, whatever they're going through, to let them know that they got a leader that's on their side. And that's what I would say if I was mayor.
One thing I would definitely do as mayor is definitely make mental health services more accessible for the youth, because I've actually been to the mental hospital, and I think it's real funny that one of Connecticut's best mental institutions, the IOL, is in the South End, yet I was the only person from the community that was actually there. I feel like that's something that needs to change. That's all I got.
If I was mayor, I'll make Hartford better by putting our youth first, because a lot of youth, their voices don't get to be heard regardless of what everybody say. A lot of people, like, they just tend to judge by a cover or by like news articles or what they hear, but they can't really walk in our shoes. So I already been in the shoes of like a youth in Hartford, so I already know what it's like coming up. I feel like giving up, but you got to keep going. People switch, system change, people fall out, people get incarcerated, but you just got to keep going because life goes on. That's how I make Hartford better, by putting the youth first.
Hello, I'm Naishali Garcia. I'm from Buckley High School, and in 4 years, I'm going to be your next mayor.
There you go. That's what I'm talking.
What's up, Ashley? I like that.
That's what I'm talking.
Let's get it, girl.
That's what I'm talking.
I like that confidence, man.
Yeah, 4 years from now, she's going to be our next mayor. So we want to inspire and encourage people to do different things, right?
Our young people are fabulous, Stan. I love that commercial that you just did, and because it makes it very clear to anybody who has any doubts that our youth are magnificent. You hear their ideas, and that's just that was 1 minute. Imagine and giving them more time and teaming them up with people like you and Chris Dukes and other magnificent brothers and sisters in the community to kind of mentor them and elevate them and make them feel validated. So
Absolutely.
that was beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for that, Stan.
Yeah, mayor for
a minute.
Mayor for a minute. When we go around with the mobile campaign office, the headquarters, we cameras in there. So you come in and you can do a mayor for a minute. You get registered to vote. You can get information. You get lawn signs, whatever you would normally get at the campaign office. And we have the schedule is done. So we got the bus schedule.
You got a schedule now.
The schedule.
I love it, man.
Is in stone. And so 6 days a week, we rotate around the city, and we spend an hour at each location. One location, I think, is 2 hours.
Okay.
But every day from 4 to 8.
In the afternoon.
Yeah,
That's
4 in the
beautiful.
afternoon to 8 in the evening.
That's beautiful.
We'll be out, and we'll be there regularly. So every week, we'll be there all the way up to November.
Stan,
Okay.
I just want you to know that
I like that.
That the people on my street are expecting a visit from you at some point.
Well, I
but
will.
we want to coordinate it, so when you come, there'll be people there with questions and concerns and whatever. But you can come down and meet the people, actually in my neighborhood, because I'm gonna start knocking on doors, man, and asking them when can they come to meet on a Saturday morning at 10 or 11, whatever, Sunday, whatever it is that we decide, and we'll let you know. But definitely, and I encourage other folks in the community to do the same thing. Get together with your neighbors, your family, and friends, and set up a date for Mayor Stan to come down and talk to you, so you can share some concerns and some issues that you want to see addressed. And he's going to be available for that. So please, folks, take advantage.
All right. Now, before we go to our next break, I want to introduce you to somebody. Mr. Christopher Dukes.
All right.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Blessed. Highly favored, as we say.
That's a great place to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me if this works as a on-air identification. Exonerated university employee.
Sure, that works. It
That
applies very
works.
well. Actually, a statement before it was wrongfully accused, exonerated university employee is our press release.
And
went
after
out
that,
this
it
week.
should be something too. It should be something imparting to all our listeners and viewers. But right under that, under exonerated university employee, there should be getting ready to kick some butt. Something along those lines, because it's coming and I can't wait, man.
All right.
This is awesome.
Talk a little bit about your new
endeavor.
Your new endeavor.
Well, Stan, thank you again, and good morning to all the listeners out there. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you and tell you about this project that we've been working on for several years now. We actually been behind the scenes helping individuals, families, and children for the last couple of years. I'm glad to present to our community what we call the American Justice Project. American Justice Project was birthed out of the Justice for Dukes campaign that started now over 5 years ago. It's amazing that we started this journey over 5 years ago. American Justice Project was co-founded by myself and a couple of other individuals who I won't name at this point in time. And the purpose is that we got tired of asking for help from others or going for help and finding out no one does what it is that we are trying to do. We have our own unique niche in this. And what I mean by that is we are designed by three different pillars we have. We call them injustice disruption. The next one is transparency and accountability. And the last is public education. We began with injustice disruption. So the injustice was happening to me. As we said, I have been exonerated after being falsely accused of serious crimes. And in my quest for justice, we uncovered prosecutorial misconduct, police misconduct, employer misconduct, judicial misconduct. There's just so much that we exposed. And learning that I'm not the only one who was suffering from that. There are so many other people out there who have been suffering, some longer than me and some more recent. And I'm just happy that we are able to provide the services. I don't want to name any other organizations. However, organizations that you would think as an African-American male that you would run to for help.
You talking about like the NAACP? It's okay, Chris. I'm calling them out.
He said he didn't want to name
but he's not naming them. I'm naming them.
But I know you are. And what I will say is, and maybe for another show, when we talk about those entities that are out there claiming to be champions of civil rights, and yet and still when you present them with issues like I raised and have the door basically slammed in your face, it's challenging and it's hard to accept. I learned a lot through this process, and that's why we have the component of public education, is to really educate our public on what's going on out there and who can you turn to. One of the things that we are proud to say with American Justice Project is we take cases that others decline. And I don't know, Stan, how far you want me to go with that before in this segment. I'm trying to be sensitive to your time as well. But
we'll hold there. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back and we'll do a deep dive.
Excellent. Thank you.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi.
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
It's Morning Talk. Welcome back. I'm here with Kasike and our special guest in studio, Christopher Dukes, and we're talking about the American Justice Project. And right before the break, you made mention about prosecutorial
misconduct.
Misconduct. Mm-hmm. That's the word I was looking for. Prosecutorial misconduct. And when you said that, it made me think about the need for oversight, because really it's almost like a constituent oversight and accountability service, for people, because where you have institutions that take on the role of like supreme overseer,
yes,
the opportunity for corruption and misconduct becomes supreme, because people want to cover it behind.
It becomes amplified,
and they don't want to have any accountability, and so the SB 1139 came to mind when you said that, because one of the pushbacks on the bill is oversight.
Yes.
Of an entity like the MDC, which is a quasi-municipality, and so everyone's circling the wagons to try to protect themselves.
Right.
But if you think institutions like the MDC have power, when you start talking about judges,
yes,
and the police, and the errors that they make, that sometimes are just small errors, but the cover-up of the small errors turn into monumental injustices, and people's lives get affected, and folks go to jail, and people die as a result of this misconduct. And so the need for what you're doing is just supreme.
Yes, sir.
So and right along with that, I just want to say that's why we cannot. And it's basic stuff. We just have to think, look at it, right? And sometimes the answer to your problems isn't right in front of you. You don't look at it. But we cannot allow words like qualified immunity to be used in any employee of the government at any level, whether they're a police officer or where they work in the tax office. Those words cannot be applied because those words do not line up with justice. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I would offer to this particular conversation.
Can I respond to both of you? Let me start by responding to Stan.
Chris.
So, Stan, in your remarks about oversight, I find it ironic that the very people who we put in office don't trust us with the oversight, right? They can trust us to vote for them, but they
to put them there
minimize our intelligence, our ability to have oversight of them when we put them in office.
But that's our fault,
isn't it?
That's our fault.
Well, I agree, because there's a lot of people say, well, we keep putting the same people in because we hear these names, Republican and Democrat, and we vote that way because each one of them, depending on what side you fall on, that is demonized in some way, and we choose our own ways, which is, I wish we did have an independent process, independent thinkers, as Stan talks about. We should have this kind of oversight. And going back to what you were saying, Luis, I believe, I don't know the date, so I don't like to give out misinformation, but as we do know, qualified immunity, which applies to police officers, and absolute immunity, which applies to prosecutors,
yeah,
right? These are doctrines that are not.
Hold on a second. Absolute immunity.
Prosecutors have absolute immunity.
They can't be prosecuted,
even if they knowingly,
put you in jail,
withhold
or
evidence,
whatever,
put a lying witness on the stand, all types of things that prosecutors can find a way to really ruin someone's life. They cannot be sued. They cannot be held accountable for actions that they were doing. So the prosecutor in my case, the primary one, former state attorney, she was the assistant state attorney, if I remember, Vicky Melchiori, the fact that she destroyed that duct tape evidence more than 2 years after my criminal charges were dismissed. Okay, my criminal case was dismissed. She knew that I was seeking that evidence. I wanted the day charges got dropped. That was the smoking gun.
That was your smoking gun.
That was right. My smoking gun. We know that my accuser's DNA is on there. We also know that there's another third individual who's not in the system, and we have every reason to believe, because of who had access to our house, that DNA profile that the state laboratory pulled from belonged to a Hartford police officer. Okay? I can say that with the highest degree of certainty, and we know who had access to my home during that night when this whole duct tape situation, this duct tape evidence was fabricated.
So he committed a crime.
So there were crimes committed. If the prosecutor's job is to seek justice, to seek the truth, we know that in more than 50% of all known wrongful convictions, there was prosecutorial misconduct or police misconduct. We know that.
Wow.
And there's thousands of more innocent people who are in jail right now. American Justice Project is aiding through our campaigns individuals right now who have pending criminal charges for crimes that did not even occur.
Wow.
And the prosecutors know it. And the prosecutors are still holding fast. We have a rally this Saturday in Milford to oppose what is happening at the state attorney's office in Milford. They have a young man from Shelton who is locked up, and there was no crime committed. In fact, crimes that were committed were by the police department, who use excessive force. They cover for themselves.
There's a prosecutor in Connecticut a couple years ago, Chris, that also knowingly and willfully committed some crimes, falsified evidence. This was all over the news and everything, and nothing happened.
Are we talking about New Haven?
Yep.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
That's why we cannot. First of all, let me say this, all right? Supreme, okay, supervision, or whatever it was that you said, Stan, was supreme, doesn't belong to the commissioner or the governor or the mayor. That supreme authority belongs to the citizens.
The people, the constituent.
People.
Yes.
Constituent
and
is at the top of the food chain.
that has to be written in. So let me say this, right along with what Chris is saying. You were there, Stan. I went to a city council meeting where the old police chief was giving a report to the city council. In this report, he was telling them everything that the police do. Now, folks, listen to me. When the police commit a crime, they do not call it that. Okay, what they do is they set up a panel of police officers. So say, defendant A, police officer A robbed some drug dealers, literally robbed them. Okay, they go before a panel of other officers, and these officers get to determine if what they did was misconduct. It's still not a crime because they will not use that word on themselves. They only use those words on civilians. And so when they were given this report, I try to question to make people aware of exactly what they were saying. I was like, listen, they're telling you that when they commit a crime, they'll get 4 or 5 officers and ask them, do you think what this officer did is a crime? And there's a saying amongst police that we're all familiar with. They have the code of blue, and cops don't snitch on cops. That's their law. That's the law. That's the law that they live by. See, we have to live by the laws that are written in the Constitution or under the Constitution. They have a different set of laws. And we have to really examine all their policies to make sure that we are not complicit in allowing the police to behave like criminals in our community, because they have a set of rules, not laws. They have a set of rules that they operate under.
If I may, I've had, so for example, let me make this statement. The citizens should not have to police the police. If the police are as honorable as they are trained to be, as they claim to be, we should not be having this problem. I worked very closely. I have a lot of close personal friends who family are law enforcement. I have former teammates of mine that I grew up with who are police officers, retired police officers. Some of them are inspectors for state attorneys' offices. I had coaches who were police officers. Up until 5 years ago, I had positive experiences with police officers. But as one of my co-founders has stated, is that this system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. There is a different standard when it comes to policing black men and black women versus others. And what we have here is a situation where the citizens have to rise above and fight for justice, because the profession that is designed or supposed to be maintaining law and order, they look the other way when those violations, those crimes happen within their profession. The Chief of Police Association for Connecticut, I don't know who the president is right now, but I do know that there's a lot of talk about having high standards and upholding those standards. But what I've learned over the last 5 years, those standards are low. I can tell you that there's some good Hartford police officers who I've dealt with in the past, or have dealt with since in the last 5 years. However, I can't imagine what it's like for them to work in a department where they know that the corruption is rampant. And if you speak out against it, that you'll get demoted. Something will happen to you.
And your life could even be in danger.
Your life can be in danger. As I'll go in another department, we talk about Sister Carter, right? Shelley, right? You know, dangers that she has faced, you know, just by resisting or just doing your job and doing the right thing has consequences. Going back to some of those organizations that we talked about before, Reach Out, they don't want to lose their standing in the community. They don't want to help someone who's been branded and manipulated in the media as, in my case, the dangerous, drunk, suicidal black man. They created a narrative for me, and then they perpetrated it throughout the media to poison any potential jury pool and so forth. And I think the biggest problem that I had with them is I did resist. I refused to put down my sword fighting for justice. I refused to do that because justice is my right. I'm speaking from lyrics of the song Make Them Hear You. And right now, we talk about important. I am, as of today, really launching what I'm calling the Make Them Hear You movement. This applies to all of us. We can all come together. If we all come together, make them hear us. Tell our sons and daughters of our fight. Ignore the people who complain about the way we choose to fight. And then once we tell our stories, if we can, the lyrics of the song is that if we can gather 100, I think it's or 10 million righteous men and women, make them hear us. You know, our fight for justice, our call for justice. American Justice Project is glad to be the new kid on the block calling for justice.
Beautiful.
Making them hear us.
Beautiful. And holding people accountable. We salute you, Chris, in what you've done, holding these people accountable. We like to see Vicky Melchiori and other corrupt prosecutors and people get prosecuted and be held accountable to let the people know. Because here's another question that I have for you, Chris.
Yes.
And you've been going through this for 5 years now, right?
5 years, more than 5 years.
How many bureaucrats and politicians, before you were exonerated and after, how many of them have said, Chris, I support you, what can I do? You know, whatever, any kind of, it's taking you too long to answer, bro.
You don't know. I was waiting for you to finish your question. I can tell you zero. I can tell you, though, Ed Vargas, I've had more conversations with Ed Vargas than anyone when he was still, because this is the 6th district, all right? I reached out to Ed. When I tell you I'm a Hartford resident, I reached out to everyone. Congressional, our U.S. senators, all of our state legislators and beyond in this region, I've reached out to every single one of them. So no one can deny that they heard about my injustice, they knew about it. Part of the chokehold, which is what we are attacking, and I'll explain more later, the chokehold is a process that is designed to cause us to submit. As I expressed to one of my board members earlier, when it comes to black people, what I'm hoping that we start doing is stop being incarcerated or killed because we're not playing Simon Says properly. Simon says do this. Simon says do that. If you don't do what Simon says, you don't just get out like you did in elementary school. You're dead or you're incarcerated. And then you have the counter argument. Well, all you had to do was comply and do what Simon says. Well, what about what the Constitution says? Let's start playing by those rules when we're being prosecuted. Let's do, what does the Constitution say? And we can decide, we've dissected my case over and over again. Not once have I heard anyone in law enforcement or any official associated with this case say he was exercising his constitutional rights. There was no warrant to enter his house.
They're not going to say that.
Right, they're not. I am. Again, make them hear that not just, again, it's not all black and white. However, the Constitution is supposed to apply equally. I'm going to make sure, as there's breath in my lungs or air in my lungs, that I will make sure that myself, my family, and anyone who joins us, again, American Justice Project wants to unite, and we're calling people to join us to stand so that way the people who've gotten away with this stuff, the Vicky Melchiori, like you talk about, she ran off to retirement a lot earlier than I think she anticipated.
What about this homeboy, Chris? What about this homeboy that was prosecuting your case?
What's his name? Vicky Melchiori was prosecuting the case.
No, her boss.
Colangelo.
That's the guy we want.
Covered up for her.
No, we need to get Colangelo. There's a cell waiting for you.
And he ran off.
Hold that thought.
Yes.
Stick and stay.
Gotcha.
We'll be right back.
We get back. The only one that needs to be.
Are you ready? Coming Friday, May 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. is the Season 1 finale of Hartford's Got Talent at the famous Bushnell Theater in Hartford, Connecticut. Talent of all ages compete for $15,000 in cash prizes and awards. Don't miss it. Hartford's Got Talent, Friday, May 5th at the Bushnell in Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford's Got Talent, showcasing talent and connecting community. For more information, visit www.hartfordsgottalent.org.
How do you define evil? Is evil the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they were elected to fight for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. Nowhere does this rule apply more than during an election for mayor. Choosing a candidate who is the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for the constituents to flip the script and vote for a mayor you can trust. My name is Jason McCauley. I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor for the city of Hartford. I, like you, am an independent thinker. So let's sit down and talk about my path to victory and why my 5-point plan for Hartford will work. Stop listening to the uninformed evil interests that tell you I can't win. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience. Vote for the name you trust and know. Vote McCauley for mayor.
Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Morning Talk. Jay Hogarth in the background.
I thought for a long time, so I just want to repeat it before I forget, because I'm getting older. Colangelo.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear me the first time, There is a cell waiting for you and Vicky. I don't know if you can share it or how it's going to work, but there's a cell waiting for both of you. And while I'm at it, Chris Dukes, I want to know.
They can hear you, Kasiki.
Yeah. Which of these black and brown people, all right, have donated to your agency? Yeah, because you need money to work. So I want to know all these, who has really supported you? Well, and I have another question, a follow-up question.
Let me answer that one first.
Yes.
So we just rolled out this week. This is the first. Our website was just completed last week. Thanks to the support and help of the professionals at the Narrative Project.
Beautiful.
They've done it. We've had a partnership with them since January. They've done a phenomenal job assisting us in getting our materials polished up and ready to go out. We have yet to begin collecting donations. So my answer is at this point in time, none. And the only reason why is because we had not started collecting those donations yet. All the services that we've been providing to people for the last couple of years have been free of charge. And our goal is that if somebody needs a defense attorney, we don't want to take your money when you could be paying your money towards your defense attorney. One of the major things that we are doing is what we call chokehold assessments. We do administrative chokehold assessments to review, is this client being put through the chokehold? Did they commit any crimes? That's one. And if they did, are they being put through a chokehold to coerce a plea or bargain? And we provide those assessments to the clients for them to use with their attorneys. There is one case right now, actually, two of them that should be dismissed, just like my case was. Again, I compelled the state attorney's office to drop all charges. I proved their accuser lied. I proved police misconduct, and they ran and scattered. Colangelo, I filed a complaint with Richard Colangelo Jr. Getting back to what Stan was saying is that there should be oversight. There is oversight in the state of Connecticut. But in my experience, it's been a black hole. So the paper trail that I have is unbelievable. 2 days before Richard Colangelo Jr. announced his retirement, I submitted approximately anywhere from 13 to 15 emails to the commission that oversees prosecutors, informing them, reiterating the crimes that Richard Colangelo Jr. committed by covering up for Vicky Melchiori. 2 days later, he announced his retirement. People think that was because of the scandal he was caught in when he was hiding emails and the illegal or improper hiring of an official, and then he was just allowed to walk up from retirement. One of our calls for action, we actually showed up at his office and we tried to provide a retirement party for him. We bought a cake. This was the American Justice Project. We did this. We staged a party right out there in the parking lot. We brought the cake to the front door, delivered it to them. I can't remember what it said, but it was something like, I think something around the lines, get out of jail free, because he got out of trouble.
Well, let me ask you a question, Chris.
Yes.
I think that our listeners and viewers are sending me questions that I'm picking up here, man.
Okay.
And one of the questions is, didn't he retire under the threat of prosecution?
Under the threat of investigation, because they were going to further the investigation.
Right.
They had no mechanism
which would have led to
for
a
disciplining him.
prosecution.
Right. They had no mechanism for disciplining him in place, which is my understanding, between Attorney General Tong and the Governor Lamont. They had nothing. Governor Lamont went on the record and stated that if it was up to him, he would have fired Richard Colangelo Jr., but he did not. He did not take it further. I think the people were owed that investigation to find out just how deep did this corruption go.
I think he resigned under the threat of prosecution.
How did
I remember reading the in the current, the history of it, it was an investigation that would have led to prosecution. He would have been guilty of several things. So the people who decided to let him go also need to be investigated.
Right.
There you go.
Right. The state, again, in my experience, the state will not, when these high-ranking officials are engaged in misconduct, the state doesn't. What kind of no? Let me put it a bit. Those who are in power right now, that is Governor Ned Lamont. That is Attorney General William Tong. These individuals who are entrusted with the people are the ones who should have sought that justice was done on behalf of the people. They declined. They protected their friend and allow him just to mosey on off into retirement. Okay. I did my part as a citizen. What I mean by that, I filed an official complaint with the FBI against Richard Colangelo and other folks. The Hartford police officers involved, Vicky Melchiori. I did all of that. All that information is there. When you file a complaint, I also made sure that I did it certified, not only certified mail, but I also made sure that I had it notarized. That way that I was doing it under the threat of perjury, that if I provided one false statement to the FBI, that I would have been arrested for it. I filed complaints with the FBI, the Hartford Police Department, the Connecticut State Police Department, seeking justice
Did any
for the
of them
crimes.
investigate your issue or your concern?
They were required to, at minimum, investigate.
Did they?
That I don't know. Why? Because I've never received any results of an investigation, but they cannot deny knowing about it because it was there. But here's what I think is very important to know. These are all sworn statements that I've given under the threat of perjury. I'm sitting here next to you and Stan. I've never been arrested for a false statement because I didn't make any. I provided the evidence to support every single statement that I made. Okay, so the fact that we have U.S. Attorney Avery, who's now there in New Haven, I did not speak to her, but I did speak to people within her office to do a follow-up. I had to keep being the squeaky wheel.
We should do a rally out there, Chris.
I totally agree.
In front of this lady's office of the FBI to find out why they never investigated his concerns.
Right.
Well, I have a real quick question. Sure. Now, Angelo, what's his name?
Colangelo.
Colangelo. Now, how did he get his job?
So, the same way that current chief now, Patrick Griffin, has his. I don't know Patrick. I have not met him. I don't have any ill will for him. I actually advocated against his
Is he a
component.
federal or state?
Oh, this is state.
State. So, did the president of the United States give him his job?
This is by the commission.
The commission.
As far as I know. So, when Colangelo's predecessor left, I can't remember who that was at the time, the state attorneys usually put their bids in. They want to apply for the job. He was the state attorney down in Stamford, Connecticut, where it is suspected that there was a cover-up of the Stephen Barrier death when he died in police custody. And Richard Colangelo is tied to that as well. There's been a lot that's going on. I want somebody, the FBI, come in and do an independent review. Maybe just oversight, but in a review. They did a great job covering up what happened to Stephen Barrier. They did a phenomenal job covering up what happened to Stephen Barrier. We still need justice on that.
So is this under the judicial branch or the executive branch?
The judicial branch.
Oh,
So
okay.
last May 12th of last year, Colangelo's replacement was selected. The two finalists, if I remember, the two finalists was the current state attorney for Hartford, Charmise Walcott, and Patrick Griffin out of New Haven. Patrick Griffin was the successful candidate.
Okay, so then the governor, by virtue of the fact that it's another branch of government, like he said, like he would have, if it was up to him, he would have fired him.
Yeah.
So, but he can't fire him.
Correct.
Because it's the judicial branch.
Correct.
All right, and so the judicial branch, in many cases, is guilty of what's the word you used?
Misconduct.
Misconduct.
That's not prosecuted. That's more
just
judicial
misconduct.
Yes.
Judicial misconduct, which was one of the things you talked about in your, in the American Justice Project. Because the number of calls, I remember the first time you called me.
Yeah.
The number of calls I get from people who have been mistreated, like, if you could sue the judicial branch for malpractice or something like that, and a judge that did something, and they totally evidence all kinds against them. And so ultimately the question I ask is, it is a fight that you can fight. Is this the hill you want to die on? because that's the attitude you have to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're going to throw everything they have at defending themselves.
Yes.
So how does the constituent for whom all of these people work, how does a constituent have any fight, any weight in the glove that they're wearing when they throw the punch, to be able to, one, defend themselves, and two, come out as a champion when they take on these Goliaths? And it sounds like the American Justice Project is going to be that champion.
That's what we hope to do.
Well,
but again, what we're using, for example, our website is based on the Nation Builder platform. We're trying to build this nation. We're trying to advance this, make them hear you movement. So it's not just myself and the co-founders. It's not just myself and the remaining of the Justice for Dukes Coalition. It's not just the African American Alliance. It's not just the ACLU out of Hartford. So it's a nation of constituents coming together. You can't ignore us that long. So the only avenue for recourse, the way I see it, is if you can report to the FBI and they make a decision that the police and prosecutors violated your civil rights under the color of law. There is provisions for that. Well, you can do that. I pursued that. I have not heard anything back from it. I have been in contact. I send them periodically messages. So, for example, April 25th was the statute of limitations against my accuser who swatted me and my children would have run out. I kept pushing for justice. I mean, it's amazing that this is all happening around the same time that Emmett Till's accuser has now passed away. She never saw Dave justice whatsoever. They knew she lied. And in this case, the prosecutors have phone records, DNA results. They have false statement analysis, so forth. They refuse to prosecute this woman. Remember, they came after me with just an accusation. We went back with an accusation and all those evidence sources of evidence I just announced. And Vicky Melchiori said she will not prosecute my accuser unless she fully confesses. Confesses. You have her. You have more than proof beyond reasonable doubt.
Most criminals don't come out.
She has enough evidence to compel her to confess.
They said they don't have enough evidence for probable cause to even arrest her.
So here's the thing. First of all, Stan, to answer your question, this is why I always say we have to rewrite the Constitution. Because at the end of the day, Joe Regular has no chance. It's not a 50-50 chance. He has no chance against a system that's rigged against him from the beginning.
Well, see, this is a discussion, of course, that you and I have ongoing. It's like saying, if you have rules of the boxing ring.
Yeah.
Oh, here's even better. We have rules for chess. But the chess pieces move a particular way.
Yes.
If you keep cheating, that doesn't mean we need to rewrite the rules of chess. It means you need to make the people that are cheating stop and hold them accountable. Because the rules are the rules are the rules.
But the difference, brother, is that we, or some of us, clearly understand that the Constitution was written without us in it. We had nothing to do with writing it. There's specific language in there that indicates that they don't. The writers of the Constitution, none of them considered us human beings.
True, that may be.
Yeah, I know. What I'm talking about.
I know
so
that.
So all the pushback that I get from people means nothing, because I have no respect for anything or anyone that doesn't consider me a human being. And that
I understand
that's
that.
the end of that.
But so that we don't get on a side road of constitutional discussion, until those rules are changed, which won't be by the end of this month or this year, we still have to play by them. And there is plenty of beef in there that we can do some serious,
gain some ground.
With what's there. So,
it's the application of it. So again, we were talking off air before when we said that the absolute immunity and qualified immunity were not part of our Constitution. However, I believe it was around the time that the Civil Rights Act was passed. And now, hey, the Constitution and these civil rights that are given to us apply to us. And if they are infringed upon, we can now sue. So they're like, wait a minute, we don't want you now suing us for misconduct. So we're going to add these protections. Again, my understanding of, and I wish somebody maybe call in who knows more, would be that these doctrines of immunity were put in place to protect the officers, the enforcers, in the event from frivolous lawsuits. But in the meantime, the damage, we've gone far enough. This is a priority of the American Justice Project. One of the priorities is making sure that these inequities are done away with, and that we partner with however many people are like-minded organizations who may not be able to do the assessments that we do, but we share in the same mission of increasing transparency when law enforcement continues to try to dampen it. What are you trying to hide?
Trying to hide their wrong.
Oh, trust me.
My contribution to this conversation at this particular moment would be that policing, as we know it, is a remnant of Jim Crow.
Oh, yes.
And we have to rewrite how we want to police ourselves and how we want the people that we hire to police us to do it. Because we have nothing, the citizens have nothing to do at all with the rules and regulations of policing. And we need to be the ones that write it, not the police. They have to follow what's written.
Right.
Like
You
the
can
good,
push that mic back some.
like
There
the
you go.
good, the good followers of directions that they are.
Well, one thing is certain when it comes to what you're talking about, particularly in the urban settings where quote unquote black and brown people prevail in terms of their numbers, and where black and brown people sit on city councils, where they are, responsible for, public safety committees, and where they appoint police chiefs and confirm police chiefs who are responsible for making sure that the laws are followed. There's no excuse for police not protecting and serving and being honorable and incorrupt in urban areas. If people will step up to the plate and hold accountable, as Chris says, individuals who are not doing their job. This is really, the bottom line is we have people who shouldn't be doing the job in the job. And there should be an easy way to get rid of rogue, bad, corrupt employees, period. Because if you could get rid of them, the problem would be solved. That would be the simplest way, because you can easily replace elected officials much more easily than rewriting the rules. Just put the people who going to do the job you want done in, because the opposition has them in there. These people didn't get in there by accident.
Right.
Someone put them there, and they're beholden to the people who put them in. And they're writing laws that are working against us. We see the evidence of their malfeasance. There's a malfeasance in some of the elected class. So if they would rather stand on the side of a select tiny few that either protect their power or line their pockets, as opposed to the constituents who put them in office, then we are part of the problem, and that means we could be part of the solution. It's like the absurdity of elected officials, senators, and them types of folks who want to tell you how much money they've gotten for your community. Like they made the money. It's our money. How you gonna tell me you got money? You using my money. It's my money. It's not your money. You didn't get money. It's
That's
our
the narrative that we've accepted.
Right.
Stand.
Well, we have to stop. What did Brother Chris say?
Make them hear us.
Make them hear us.
Make them hear us.
I love that.
Yeah.
I support that movement completely, because that's what this show is all about. Is about making these politicians and bureaucrats hear us as members of this community. And so I salute Chris Dukes and the American Justice Project. It's just a wonderful idea I love it that they took their time to roll it out, and they're making things happen. So, I salute them. Thank you so much, brother.
And may I ask that people, if you'd like to take a deeper look at what we've done thus far, please go to our website. It's www.ajp.org.
And so let's keep talking, because now, Chris, you had prosecutors from the Hartford office. You had a different prosecutor at your job, right?
Yeah. So let's get that. It's not a prosecutor. That was a human resources officer. But yes.
But when you went to get exonerated, you had to go through that process.
The arbitration process.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of being prosecuted.
For sure.
So you've been through this process with different state agencies and different city agencies.
Yes.
Why hasn't RICO been applied to your case?
And I haven't the faintest idea, because when you look at DCF's involvement, DCF,
that's a state agency.
State agency. DCF has a very low burden of proof or standard of proof that's required.
Just come and take your
DCF ruled that all accusations against me were completely unsubstantiated. Okay,
why don't you have your kids back?
That's the lowest level. And then if you look at the arbitrator, who used a preponderance of evidence and a clear convincing standard as well, the arbitrator was the first person who had the courage to call into question the truthfulness about the narrative that the Hartford Police Department and my accuser put out. Then if you look at what happened at the prosecutorial, the criminal process, when you have the highest level or highest burden of proof, again, because folks will say that I won my job back, or I won these things because the prosecutor could not reach such a heavy burden. Of course they couldn't. It was a fabricated story to begin with, and they knew it, right? So they were compelled. So all levels of adjudication led to an exoneration. And there's people, it's funny how people challenge that right now. But when you talk about the job, for example, because right now I still don't have my job back, even though the decision was made November 30th of 2022, that CCSU rushed to judgment. They ignored all of the evidence that I presented. They only accepted the narrative that was created about me, which was
newspaper.
Well, they didn't create it. All they did was amplify, because what we do in this state, unfortunately, at the detriment of victims of domestic violence, is we take those narratives and we run with them. We don't vet them as the way we should. And what that does is now it calls into question every accusation that's made, which is, again, detrimental to those men and women who are suffering from domestic violence. I've been a domestic violence advocate for a couple of decades now. I was that in the capacity of my job. When you call into question every single again, that's why it's required to have an investigation. CCSU has a long standing tradition in their Human Resources Office and their Diversity and Equity Office, which they changed the names. It's so funny how they changed the names to avoid, the dark cloud that used to be over that name, right? Shipman and Goodwin came out with a report, I want to say in 2019. And one of their recommendations, the two primary ones is, you need to check your chief human resource officer, your chief diversity officer, and both of those agencies, because they've mishandled sexual assault cases and sexual misconduct cases for decades. Mind you, when 4 days before I was falsely accused, I met with President Zuma Toro. I was a whistleblower. I told her, you created something by bringing these agencies in. I'm going to have to meet with them, or the agency that she had boasted about bringing in to clean up things and get an understanding of how cases were handled. I said, I'm going to have to tell them the truth. I'm going to tell them where these bodies are buried. And the two bodies, the biggest ones, it's still CCSU's greatest secret. Shipman and Goodwin reported that they reviewed over 9 months, thousands of text messages, emails, and pages of documents or so forth. Yet and still, the current president withheld the two cases that I disclosed to her on April 20th of 2018. And I know why she did it. Well, how did we even get there is in 2011, March 9th, I'm going to say 2011, or perhaps the 8th, around that time period, a gentleman who was overseeing, he was in charge, he was the Title IX officer and he was the chief diversity officer. He is the head person, designee of the president to look at sexual assault and sexual misconduct.
Can you say his name?
Yes, I can. Moises Salinas. It's in the newspaper. You'll know it.
Okay.
Moises sexually assaulted a female student at CCSU. So you imagine.
The diversity guy.
The media ran wild with it, and rightfully so. It was a bad, dark cloud over it. CCSU is my, I'm an alum of CCSU. That's my alma mater, right? So my alma mater, I love CCSU. And so I don't mean to put the bad light on it, but I'll tell the truth, right? So in what happens
You're not putting
is,
a bad light on it, brother. You're just trying to make it right, man.
Yes. So when Moises was convicted in March of 2011, CCSU wanted to get away from all that media attention, and they almost did. But in April of 2011, a math professor who had stalked a young lady, had her phone number, called her, scared her into thinking that she failed his course in the fall semester. His name is Matthew Sedlak. He scared her into thinking that the only way she won't fail the class, he won't go back and change her grade, is if she will come to his apartment and take a makeup exam, that he was going to help her with the answers. It's all in writing. It was covered in the student newspaper.
Did he rape her?
No, he didn't rape her. What he did was, before she was to come over, he texted her and asked, can he perform oral sex? Actually, can I go down on you while you're taking your exam? Okay, he's asking, can he perform oral sex on his student? Now, think about it. If you're a CCSU manager, by all means, oh my goodness, we're going to be back in the media again. This is a big deal. Yeah. We have a math professor who is soliciting a sexual favor, even though he's going to do the performing on a female student. Yeah. It is so improper. It's so wrong. That was going to be a big scandal. It was going to be all over. CCSU found a way to hide that case between the Human Resources Office, the Diversity and Equity Officer, and the Vice President for Student Affairs.
The new diversity officer.
Yeah, the new one who replaced Moises.
Right, because Moises was convicted.
Right, but and all of these individuals are female. And they all covered up for Matthew Sedlak. Okay? They allowed him to just mosey on off. And they I won't tell you how they got rid of it. That's for another story. But it is a part of my whistle retaliation lawsuit against CCSU. In the same month, a young lady reported that she was raped, but she did not share the name of the individual who raped her.
It was a staff member.
2 years later, she identified that staff member who was a staff member. BLM 860 actually exposed his name last month. And I can say the name because the university did receive, the Office of Diversity and Equity and Human Resources received the complaint that Chad Tower had raped this young lady 2 years before.
He's a staff member there.
He's a staff member when they reported it. When she identified him, he was a staff member. So now CCSU's defense to this is, well, he was not acting in the capacity as a staff member when he raped her. Let that marinate for a second.
Yeah.
They
saying it's okay for women to get raped as long as it's not by a staff member. That's the message that it sends out.
Right. As long as you're not on the payroll at the time.
That's crazy, man.
Isn't that crazy, right? That is the defense. That is in sworn court documents that are online right now. Last time I was here, I was telling you they were trying to get these documents sealed. Why? It has great public. You think the public is not interested in a math professor at a public institution soliciting sexual favors from a young lady? You think that the public is not interested in the fact that we are paying the salary and benefits of a known rapist on one of our college campuses? Okay? Yes, it's a public of interest.
Who did he
public
rape?
Interest. I can't share the name.
No, but was it a young white lady?
I won't even go that far, but it was a young female lady. So, but here's my point.
Right.
As an alum, as a member of the community, no matter how you slice or dice this, these men acted in the capacity of male perpetrators against females. They are male perpetrators, and the university owes it to the campus community and the community at large to make sure.
And to those women that were raped.
And to those women that justice would be served, and they failed not to do that. Here's the kicker. Ever since Zumotoro has known this individual's name, knows his department, knows his whole case file, that he committed this rape, she knows it. She's known since April 20th of 2018. Yet and still, in August, after they put me on paid administrative leave, in August, she renewed his contract.
Wow.
The following year, she renewed his contract again. The year after that, not only did she renew his contract, but she gives him tenure. She gives him continuing appointment. This man, who is still there, collecting full benefits, full pay, raped someone. He is a male perpetrator, and their defense now is, well, we have no knowledge that he's raped anyone else since. That's in the court documents.
That is crazy.
Now that.
How do people like that have a job?
And you have an arbitrator, because that's where it was. You have an arbitrator who said that I was innocent, and I should be back in my position and made whole. Yet and still, the Attorney General's office filed the appeal on behalf of CCSU. Got it vacated, and it's being heard at the Supreme. Well, it's already been heard. We're waiting the decision anytime, hopefully in the next 3 weeks.
This is the case that was before the Supreme Court.
This is the case that you heard before the Supreme Court. And the argument of the representative from the Attorney General's office is that it would violate public policy to put an innocent, wrongfully accused, and exonerated black man back in jail. But the white man, who they know raped this individual, is still there collecting state pay and state benefits.
And this is why I say, brothers, all the time that black and brown people are out there, right? Trying to downplay and protecting criminals who commit crimes against us. Black and brown people protecting criminals. That's
right. In your, but the context of what you're saying is when they try to downplay, like other. But hold that thought, so we don't go down another rabbit hole. Stick and stay. We will be right back to wrap up. Morning talk. Morning talk.
I'm gonna come back.
Morning talk. Morning talk.
I'm gonna come back to your question about the kids.
You know something? Hartford's strength is the people. They're independent thinkers and love their city. So how did Hartford fall into the hands of rogue policymakers? Well, to start, this rogue group spent nearly $1 million putting themselves on the inside and leaving you out in the cold. What if I told you that $5 can be the difference between a Hartford with hope and vision or a Hartford that is in perpetual decline, increasing crime, and an educational system going nowhere fast? Your $5 contribution to our team is a statement that you are investing in Hartford's future. Your $5 contribution to McCauley for mayor will make you a member of the team, and together we will explore the possibilities. More than that, you will be demonstrating that Hartford's people are ready to make a stand with Stan. Our goal is to get the support of 5,000 people who live, work, and play in Hartford. I'm asking you to make a bold statement by contributing $5 right now, today. If you believe in Hartford and its people like I do, make that contribution. And together we will show Connecticut that the people of Hartford care enough to do our part. We are ready to pick up the ball and run. The people of Hartford are back in the game, and we're in it to win. My name is J. Sam McCauley, and I approve this message.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right. Welcome back. Morning Talk. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Morning Talk. 8 o'clock. Morning and evening. 8 morning, 8 evening. Tune in. Always something there. This morning we've got in studio special guest Chris Dukes. And we have Cacique in here. And
hey Stan, let's jump right in, man. So Dukes.
Yes, sir.
The follow-up to that question that you gave that wonderful answer to is, if all these damn people, man, have exonerated you, found out that nothing that they said really happened, why don't you have your kids after 5 years, man? That is horrendous, man.
I think the best way to answer that is my children were first taken away from me the night that I was arrested, the morning that I was arrested.
Yes.
I was separated from my children for 10 months. No contact, no visibility, nothing. Absence. And then the family court ordered for visitation, supervised visitation, which began February 5th of 2019. As of today, my children and I still see each other once a week for 2 hours on supervision. And again, I believe that this is, the element of the chokehold. One of the elements is loss of children. If you keep my children away, most people will sign anything to be able to get their children back. I knew that signing a plea bargain or signing an agreement at family court to give my accuser, the mother of my children, to give her custody of my children when she swatted us and they're letting her get away with it, that was unthinkable. I could not do that. It's unfathomable. And so my point is that with my children, how could I live my life with the stain of being a criminal, the stain of being a wife beater, a kidnapper, and all those things, and try to have a prosperous life for my children? That was impossible. The only way to have any type of viable life for my children is to defeat this injustice once and for all and stop it for other people. So my children and I, when the divorce was finalized, the fix was already in with family court. If you go back to the record and when my case was dismissed in criminal court, the prosecutor already made sure the fix was in at the family court. She had stated on the record that she hopes that I go through family court and no place else. That's one of the main statements that she made. And because I went elsewhere, I went other places, I would not, he's not showing remorse. Why would I show remorse for a crime I did not commit? Right. That's another way they try to get us. All right. Again, the assumption is that we are thugs and everything that we do is thuggish. So even if we're intelligent, they say you're clever. If we are determined, they say you are aggressive, you're angry. So again, they put a negative spin on whatever we are. As far as my children are concerned, we are now that the appellate court ruled since I was last here, and they found in favor of me that the judge who handled the divorce made 2 critical errors. And you can't bring every error up, but we brought up 3 of them. They found in my favor for 2 of them. The third one, which was to get them to reassess, reweigh the evidence, they were not persuaded to pursue that. So they left it alone. They did not want to overturn the judge's ruling on that, which is the same premise why the arbitration should not have been vacated. But they gave my ex full control over my children. She was supposed to start reunification therapy to get us to a position where there is no more supervision. But in retaliation to me, she never pursued reunification therapy in the last 2 years. So we are pushing forward. This has been a marathon by all means, and I have to chip it away bit by bit by bit. And that's what we've done. And that's what we do with American Justice Project. We will chip away and find the lowest level of injustice that's there and move forward to put a remedy forward. I pray for my children all the time. It's hard. It's a very sensitive. I'm trying not to cry now. I love my children.
Of course, brother.
I can't say I love my children more than any other parent. My children have not spoken to, seen, or had a phone call or visit one black relative since April 2018. For 5 years, this justice system built on white supremacy has kept my children away from me and my family. That is the consequence of fighting justice or fighting injustice. They will do whatever they can to break you. I say this, I'll end with this one. My name is Christopher Lamont Dukes. My name is not Toby.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to whip me into submission and call me Toby. When we say art imitates life in the movie Roops, they whipped Kunta Kinte until he said his name was Toby. My name is Christopher Lamont Dukes. American Justice Project is watching. We're going to increase transparency. We're going to seek accountability. And we are going to educate our public. We're going to build this nation person by person. And we're going to make sure that the sentiments of this country, that we can all live with liberty and justice for all, becomes an actual reality for all of us. Thank you again for allowing me to be here with you.
Amen.
Man, beautifully stated, Chris. Thank you so much for being here today. We need people to start calling, man. Start calling Lamont's office. Start calling the state attorney's office. And start asking people about that. Now, I just want to point something out to all our listeners and viewers. The chokehold that Chris is talking about is a book by a brother named Paul Butler.
Yes.
And it talks about all the ways that the American justice, as we know it, constantly has us in some type of chokehold or another. To all our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this segment today was educational and informational. Don't be afraid to be supportive. It doesn't have to be about money. Sometimes making a phone call or showing up to one of these rallies that Chris is talking about is the way that we support each other. Thank you so much, family. To our elders, thank you for all the sacrifices that you made for us to be here today. I'm grateful. Peace, family.
All right, my friends, that's going to wrap it up for today. You all go on and have you a fabulous rest of the day. Special thanks to our guests for coming by and stopping in, Brother Chris, and Godspeed and continued success on your new project, the American Justice Project. And we will see you all next time we are here. Keep your eye open and ears open for Senate Bill 1139 and see what we can do about getting that thing called to the floor for a vote. All right. We will talk to you all real soon. We'll go out with a little Jay Hogarth. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley.
Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands-on access. With a light source vision, door-to-door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
My name is Marlon E. Styler Sr. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley.
Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan.
It's more than politics Politics is just what your social covers, and it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living to make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night? Change it, yeah.